A quiet man, a powerful young CEO, and the secret they don't know about each other. When a young CEO starts paying attention to a single father working in the shadows, everyone thinks it's romance. But no, it's something far more dangerous. It's an investigation, a test, a power game that neither of them knows they're playing until it's too late to step back. And when the truth finally explodes, it will change everything. Not just in the office, but in their entire lives. Follow my story to the end, and don't forget to hit like and comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled. The first time Noah Bennett realized something was wrong, he was standing in front of the coffee machine on the 14th floor, waiting for his cup to fill. It was 7:48 a.m. on a Tuesday. The machine hummed. The floor was still mostly empty. He had his routine down to a science: arrive early, grab coffee, get to his desk before the rush, keep his head down, do his job, leave on time. No drama, no attention, just work, then home to his daughter. That was the plan. That was always the plan. Then Scarlett Hale walked in. She wasn't supposed to be there. The CEO didn't use the 14th floor break room. She had her own office suite on the top floor with a private espresso machine, a view of the city skyline, and an assistant whose entire job was to make sure she never had to interact with regular employees unless absolutely necessary. But there she was. Black blazer, white blouse, heels that made sharp, deliberate sounds against the tile floor. She stopped a few feet away from him, arms crossed, watching him like he was a puzzle she hadn't quite figured out yet. Noah didn't look up. He grabbed his coffee, added 2 sugars, stirred slowly. "You're Noah Bennett." It wasn't a question. He glanced at her briefly, then nodded. "Morning, Ms. Hale. You manage operations for the logistics division." "That's right. 3 years with the company, no promotions, no complaints, no disciplinary actions, perfectly average performance reviews." Noah took a sip of his coffee. It was too hot. He didn't flinch. "I do my job." "You do," she said, stepping closer. "But you don't do more than that. You clock in at 8, leave at 5:15, never stay late, never volunteer for extra projects, never ask for a raise." He finally met her eyes. They were sharp, calculating, the kind of eyes that didn't miss anything. "Is there a problem with that?" Scarlett tilted her head slightly, studying him. "No, but it's unusual. Most people want more. They want recognition, advancement. You don't." "I have a daughter," Noah said simply. "I pick her up from school every day. That's more important than a promotion." Something flickered across her face, curiosity maybe, or something else he couldn't quite name. She didn't respond right away. Instead, she turned and walked toward the coffee machine, poured herself a cup, black, no sugar. "How old is she?" Scarlett asked. 6. "That's a good age." "It is." Scarlett took a sip of her coffee, still watching him over the rim of the cup. "You were in corporate security before this. High-level risk management, executive protection." Noah's grip tightened slightly on his cup. "That was a long time ago." 5 years. "Like I said, a long time. Why'd you leave?" He didn't answer right away. The coffee machine beeped. Someone walked past the break room, glanced in, kept moving. "Personal reasons," Noah said finally. Scarlett smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That's what people say when they don't want to tell the truth. It's also what people say when the truth isn't anyone else's business. She laughed. Short, sharp, unexpected. "Fair enough." Noah set his cup down on the counter. "Is there something you need from me, Ms. Hale?" "Not yet," she said. Then she turned and walked out, heels clicking against the floor, leaving him standing there alone with a cup of coffee that had gone cold. The rest of the day felt off. Noah couldn't explain it, but the conversation stuck with him. Scarlett Hale didn't just casually run into employees. She didn't make small talk in break rooms. And she definitely didn't ask personal questions about people's kids. He tried to brush it off, tried to focus on work, tried to pretend everything was normal. But at 3:47 p.m., his desk phone rang. "Noah Bennett." "Mr. Bennett, this is Caroline from Ms. Hale's office. She'd like to see you at 4:30. Are you available?" Noah glanced at the clock. He needed to leave by 5 to pick up Emma from school. "Can I ask what this is about?" "She didn't say, just that it won't take long." He hesitated. "Yeah, okay. I'll be there." Great, 20th floor, executive suite. She'll be expecting you. The line went dead. Noah sat back in his chair, staring at the phone. Around him, the office hummed with the usual sounds. Keyboards clicking, phones ringing, low conversations drifting between cubicles. Everything normal, everything fine. Except it wasn't. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and headed for the elevator. The 20th floor was different, quieter. The carpet was thicker, the lighting softer. Everything felt expensive in a way that made Noah uncomfortable. He didn't belong here, and everyone who saw him knew it. Caroline, Scarlett's assistant, was waiting by the elevator. She was maybe 30, sharp-eyed, dressed like she'd stepped out of a magazine. She smiled politely, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Mr. Bennett, right this way." She led him down a hallway lined with modern art and glass-walled conference rooms. At the end, a set of double doors stood open. Scarlett's office. It was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, minimalist furniture, a desk that looked like it cost more than Noah's car, and Scarlett, standing by the window, looking out at the skyline. She didn't turn around when he walked in. "Close the door," she said. Noah did. Caroline disappeared. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Scarlett turned, hands clasped behind her back, expression unreadable. "Do you know why I asked you here?" "No?" "I'm restructuring the company," she said. "New leadership, new priorities. I need people I can trust in key positions." Noah frowned. "With all due respect, Ms. Hale, I'm just an operations manager. I'm not leadership material. That's not what your file says." She walked over to her desk, picked up a folder, and tossed it onto the table between them. Noah stared at it. "What is that?" "Your real file," Scarlett said. "Not the sanitized HR version, the one that shows who you actually are." Noah didn't move. "You were one of the best," she continued. "Corporate security, risk assessment, executive protection. You handled threats no one else could. You were fast, smart, and ruthless when you needed to be. Then one day, you walked away. No explanation, no warning. You just disappeared." "I told you," Noah said quietly. "Personal reasons." "You had a daughter," Scarlett said. "Emma, born 6 years ago. Mother's name is Rachel Bennett. She passed away shortly after childbirth. Complications. No other family, just you." Noah's jaw tightened. "You had no right." "I have every right." Scarlett cut him off, her voice sharp. "This is my company, and when I bring someone into my inner circle, I need to know who they are, what they're capable of, what they're hiding." "I'm not hiding anything." "Aren't you?" She stepped closer, eyes locked on his. "You left a high-paying, high-profile career to become a mid-level manager in a logistics division. You work exactly 40 hours a week. You never socialize, never take risks, never draw attention to yourself. You've built an entire life around being invisible." "I built a life around being a father," Noah said, his voice low but steady. "That's all." Scarlett studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Maybe. Or maybe you're running from something." "I'm not." "Then prove it." Noah blinked. "What?" "I'm offering you a position," Scarlett said. "Special Operations Advisor. You'll report directly to me. Handle internal security, risk management, corporate intelligence. Things that require discretion and skill." "I'm not interested." "I'll double your salary." "I don't need the money. Everyone needs money." "I need to pick up my daughter from school," Noah said flatly. "Every day, at 5:15. That's non-negotiable." Scarlett's expression didn't change. "Fine, 5:15. But you'll be on call, and when I need you, you'll answer." "No." "Why not?" "Because I left that life behind," Noah said. "I'm not that person anymore." "You think you can just stop being who you are?" Scarlett asked, her voice sharp. "You think you can pretend you're normal, average, safe?" "I am safe." "You're lying to yourself." Noah picked up his jacket. "I appreciate the offer, Ms. Hale, but the answer is no." He turned to leave. "Your daughter's school," Scarlett said suddenly. "Riverside Elementary. You pick her up every day at 5:15. You walk her home, 2 blocks. Sometimes you stop at the park on 3rd Street. She likes the swings." Noah froze, his hand on the door handle. "You make her dinner," Scarlett continued. "Usually something simple. Pasta, grilled cheese, chicken nuggets. You help her with homework, read her a story before bed, the same routine every single night. He turned slowly. What are you doing? I'm showing you that I know who you are, Scarlett said. All of you, not just the version you show the world. Stay away from my daughter. I'm not threatening her, Scarlett said calmly. I'm telling you that you can't hide. Not from me. Not from yourself. You're good at what you do, Noah. You always have been. And sooner or later you're going to have to decide if you're going to keep pretending you're not. Noah stared at her, his pulse hammering in his ears. Then he opened the door and walked out without another word. Emma was waiting by the school gate when Noah pulled up, her pink backpack almost as big as she was. She grinned when she saw him, waving enthusiastically. Daddy! Noah forced a smile, pushing the conversation with Scarlett out of his mind. Hey, sweetheart, how was school? Good. We learned about penguins today. Did you know they can't fly? I did know that, yeah. She climbed into the back seat, chattering away as Noah buckled her in. He listened, nodding in the right places, but his mind was elsewhere. Scarlett Hale had just shown him exactly how much power she had. She knew his routine, knew his daughter's schedule, knew everything, and that meant she was either testing him or warning him. Maybe both. That night, after Emma was asleep, Noah sat at the kitchen table with a glass of water and his phone. He stared at the screen for a long time before finally opening his contacts and scrolling to a name he hadn't called in 5 years. Marcus Reeves. He hit dial. It rang 4 times before a rough, familiar voice answered. Yeah? It's Noah. A pause, then a low laugh. Well, I'll be damned. Noah Bennett, thought you fell off the face of the earth. I did. So why are you calling me now? Noah hesitated. I need information. On what? Scarlett Hale. Another pause, longer this time. The CEO. What the hell do you want with her? She's asking questions, Noah said. About me, my past. She knows things she shouldn't. And you want to know how much she knows? Yeah. Marcus let out a long breath. Scarlett Hale doesn't ask questions unless she already knows the answers, man. If she's digging into you, it's because she's got a reason. And trust me, you don't want to be on her radar. Too late for that. Then you're screwed. Thanks for the pep talk. Marcus laughed. Look, I'll poke around, see what I can find. But Noah, if she's coming after you, it's not random. She doesn't waste time on people who don't matter. I'm nobody. Yeah? Then why is she paying attention? Noah didn't have an answer for that. I'll call you back, Marcus said. Watch your back. The line went dead. Noah set the phone down and rubbed his eyes. He was tired, bone-tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. He'd left his old life behind for a reason. He'd built something safe, something stable, something normal. And now Scarlett Hale was threatening to tear it all apart. The question was why tipo. The next morning, Noah arrived at work at his usual time. Same routine, same coffee, same desk. But when he sat down, there was an envelope waiting for him. Plain white, no markings, just his name written in neat, precise handwriting. He opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper with 3 words typed in the center. 20th floor, 9 a.m. Noah crumpled the note and shoved it into his pocket. Then he sat back in his chair and stared at his computer screen, jaw tight. She wasn't giving him a choice. Fine. At exactly 9 a.m., Noah stepped off the elevator onto the 20th floor. Caroline was waiting again. Same professional smile, same cool demeanor. She's expecting you. Noah didn't respond. He just followed her down the hallway to Scarlett's office. This time, Scarlett was sitting at her desk, reviewing something on her laptop. She didn't look up when he walked in. Close the door. He did. Sit. Noah stayed standing. Scarlett finally looked up, one eyebrow raised. Stubborn. I like that. What do you want from me? She leaned back in her chair, studying him. I want to know if the rumors are true. What rumors? That you're the man who took down the Mercer Group. Noah's blood ran cold. The Mercer Group. He hadn't heard that name in 5 years, hadn't thought about it, hadn't let himself. I don't know what you're talking about, he said carefully. Don't lie to me, Scarlett said, her voice cutting. I've done my research. 6 years ago, the Mercer Group was one of the most powerful corporate entities in the country. Corrupt, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. but untouchable. Until someone on the inside brought them down, leaked documents, exposed their operations, destroyed them from within. She stood up, walking around the desk to face him. That someone was you. Noah said nothing. You were their head of security, Scarlett continued. You had access to everything, and when you found out what they were really doing, the money laundering, the blackmail, the threats, you didn't just walk away, you burned them to the ground. If you already know the story, Noah said quietly, why are you asking me? Because I want to hear you say it. Why? Because I need to know if you're still that person, Scarlett said. The one who saw something wrong and had the guts to do something about it, or if you've really gone soft. Noah met her eyes. I have a daughter now. That changes things. Does it? Yeah, it does. Scarlett studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. Okay, I believe you. Noah frowned. Just like that? Just like that. She walked back to her desk, picked up a tablet, and handed it to him. I'm not asking you to come back full-time. I'm not asking you to leave your daughter. I'm asking you to consult, on a case-by-case basis, when I need you. Noah looked down at the tablet. On the screen was a file marked confidential. What is this? A problem, Scarlett said. Someone's been leaking information from the company. Strategic plans, financial data. Things that are costing us millions. I need to know who, and I need to know fast. Hire a security firm. I don't trust security firms, Scarlett said bluntly. I trust people who've proven they can handle pressure. People who know how to find the truth, no matter how deep it's buried. You don't even know me. I know enough. Noah handed the tablet back to her. I'm sorry, but I can't. Why not? Because this is exactly the kind of thing that pulls you back in, Noah said. You think it's just one case, just one problem. Then it's 2. Then it's 10. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. Scarlett set the tablet down. And where's that? Alone, Noah said quietly, with nothing left to lose. For the first time, something shifted in Scarlett's expression. Not pity, not sympathy, just understanding. I get it, she said. You're protecting her. I respect that. Noah nodded. Then we're done here. Not quite. She walked over to the window, looking out at the city. Here's the thing, Noah. Whether you help me or not, this problem isn't going away. And if I can't figure out who's behind it, this company is going to collapse. That means layoffs, thousands of them, including you. Noah's jaw tightened. So you can walk away, Scarlett continued. Keep your routine, keep your distance. But when the checks stop coming and you're scrambling to find another job that lets you pick up your daughter at 5:15 every day, you're going to remember this conversation. And you're going to regret it. She turned to face him. I'm offering you a chance to protect your future. Not just mine, yours, Emma's. Take it or leave it. Noah stood there, fists clenched at his sides. He hated that she was right. Hated that she'd backed him into a corner with no good options. But most of all, he hated that part of him. The part he'd tried so hard to bury was actually considering it. One case, he said finally. That's it. I find your leak, you leave me alone. Scarlett smiled. Deal. That night, Noah stayed up late, going through the files Scarlett had sent him. Financial reports, personnel records, security logs. Someone was good. Very good. They'd covered their tracks carefully, made it look like random glitches, isolated incidents. But Noah had done this before. He knew what to look for. And he found it. A pattern. Small, almost invisible. But there. Unauthorized access to the mainframe. Always late at night. Always from different terminals. But always tied back to one division. Executive operations. Someone high up. Someone with clearance. Someone close to Scarlett. Noah leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. This was going to be messy. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Got something. Call me. Noah dialed. Talk to me, he said. Scarlett Hale's clean, Marcus said. No scandals, no skeletons. She's exactly what she looks like. A brilliant, ruthless CEO who rebuilt her father's company from the ground up after he died. Okay, so why is she interested in me? Because she's paranoid, Marcus said. Her father was killed in a car accident 3 years ago. Officially ruled an accident, but there were whispers. Rumors that it wasn't, that someone wanted him gone. Noah sat up straighter. You think she believes it was murder? I think she's never stopped looking for proof, Marcus said. And if she's bringing you in, it's because she thinks whatever's happening now is connected to what happened then. Noah's mind raced. Who would want her father dead? Competitors, rivals, hell, maybe even someone inside the company. The man had enemies, lots of them. And Scarlett thinks I can help her figure out which one did it. Or she thinks you're the kind of person who can stop it from happening again. Noah exhaled slowly. Thanks, Marcus. Be careful, man. You're walking into something big. The line went dead. Noah sat in the dark, staring at the files on his screen. He'd thought this was just about a corporate leak, a simple problem with a simple solution, but it wasn't. It was something bigger, something darker, and Scarlett Hale had just made him part of it. The next morning, Noah walked into Scarlett's office without waiting for Caroline to announce him. Scarlett looked up, surprised. Your father's death wasn't an accident, Noah said. Scarlett's expression didn't change. No, it wasn't. And you think whoever killed him is still inside the company? I know they are. Noah set his laptop down on her desk, turning it so she could see the screen. Your leak isn't random. It's targeted. Someone's feeding information to a competitor, but they're not doing it for money. Then why? Revenge, Noah said. Or leverage. Maybe both. Scarlett leaned forward, eyes sharp. Who? I don't know yet, Noah admitted, but I will. She studied him for a long moment, then she nodded. Good. But I need full access, Noah said. Personnel files, security footage, financial records, everything. Done. And I need you to trust me, Noah added, even when I ask questions you don't want to answer. Scarlett's lips curved into a faint smile. I don't trust anyone, Noah. Then learn. She laughed, genuine this time. You're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Scarlett stood up, extending her hand. Welcome to the inner circle, Mr. Bennett. Noah shook it. Let's just hope I don't regret this. Oh, you will, Scarlett said lightly, but by then it'll be too late to back out. Tooked. Over the next 2 weeks, Noah's life changed in ways he didn't expect. He still picked up Emma at 5:15, still made her dinner, still read her stories before bed. But now, after she was asleep, he worked. He dug through files, cross-referenced data, tracked patterns, and slowly, piece by piece, a picture started to emerge. The leak was coming from someone in executive operations, someone with high-level access, someone who'd been with the company for years. And they weren't working alone. Noah found traces of communication, encrypted emails, coded messages, carefully hidden transactions. Whoever this was, they were smart, professional, but they'd made one mistake. They'd underestimated him. One night, Noah called Scarlett. It was late, almost midnight, but she answered on the second ring. Talk to me, she said. I found them, Noah said, or at least I'm close. But I need you to do something. What? Call a meeting, all senior executives, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Why? Because I'm going to smoke them out. Scarlett was quiet for a moment. Then she said, This better work, Noah. It will. How can you be sure? Because people make mistakes when they're scared, Noah said, and tomorrow they're going to be terrified. The next morning, the conference room on the 20th floor was packed. Every senior executive was there, sitting around the long glass table, looking confused and uneasy. Scarlett sat at the head of the table, calm and composed. Noah stood by the door, arms crossed, watching. Thank you all for coming on short notice, Scarlett began. I'll make this quick. We have a security breach. Someone in this room has been leaking confidential information to our competitors. The room erupted, voices overlapping, people protesting, demanding answers. Scarlett raised a hand and the room fell silent. I've hired a consultant to investigate, she continued. He's identified several irregularities, and today we're going to address them. She nodded to Noah. He stepped forward, pulling out a tablet. Over the past 3 weeks, sensitive financial data has been accessed from terminals in this building, always late at night, always from accounts belonging to senior staff. He tapped the screen and a list of names appeared on the wall-mounted monitor behind him. These are the people who had access during those times. Noah watched their faces. Most looked shocked. A few looked angry, but one looked scared. Derek Lansing, VP of Strategic Planning, mid-40s, 15 years with the company. Derek, Noah said calmly, you want to tell us why your access card was used to log into the mainframe at 2 a.m. last Thursday? Derek's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because the security logs say otherwise. Anyone could have used my card, except the system also tracks biometric data. Noah interrupted. Fingerprints, retinal scans. It was you, Derek. Derek stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. This is insane. I'm not... Sit down, Scarlett said quietly. Derek hesitated. Then he sat. You've been selling information to Meridian Corp, Noah continued. Financial projections, strategic plans, client lists. In exchange for what? Money? A job offer? I didn't have a choice, Derek said, his voice breaking. They threatened me, said they'd destroy my career if I didn't cooperate. Who threatened you? Scarlett demanded. Derek shook his head. I can't. You can, Noah said, and you will, because right now you're looking at corporate espionage charges. Prison time. But if you cooperate, maybe we can work something out. Derek looked around the room, desperate. Then his shoulders sagged. Ethan Cole, he's the one who approached me. Said Meridian wanted intel, said they'd pay. But then they started asking for more. And when I tried to stop, they threatened to expose everything. Scarlett's eyes narrowed. Ethan Cole? From Meridian? Yeah. She looked at Noah. He nodded. Escort Derek out, Scarlett said to security. We'll deal with him later. As Derek was led out, the room buzzed with shock and anger. Scarlett let it go on for a moment, then stood. Meeting adjourned, and let this be a lesson. No one betrays this company and walks away clean. Everyone filed out, except Noah and Scarlett. She turned to him. Ethan Cole, you know him? Yeah, Noah said grimly. He was part of the Mercer group, one of the few who got away when it all came down. So this is personal. Looks that way. Scarlett crossed her arms. He's coming after me because of you. Maybe. That's not good enough, Noah. I know. She stepped closer. Fix this. Noah met her eyes. I will. Natin. That night, Noah sat at his kitchen table, staring at a photograph on his phone. It was old, 6 years old, taken during his last job with the Mercer Group. He was standing next to Ethan Cole, both of them in suits, both of them smiling. Back then, Ethan had been a colleague, a friend even. But when Noah brought down the Mercer Group, Ethan lost everything, his career, his reputation, his future. And now he wanted revenge. Noah's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Hello, old friend. We need to talk. Noah stared at the message. Then he typed back. Where? The reply came instantly. Tomorrow, 8 p.m., Pier 17. Come alone. Noah set the phone down and rubbed his face. This was going to get worse before it got better. But one way or another, he was going to end it. For Emma, for Scarlett, for himself. Because this time he wasn't running. Pier 17 was almost empty when Noah arrived at 7:55 p.m. The wind off the water was cold, cutting through his jacket. A few joggers passed by. A couple sat on a bench, wrapped up in each other. Normal people living normal lives. Noah envied them. He walked to the far end of the pier, where the streetlights didn't quite reach. The water lapped against the concrete pylons below. In the distance, the city glowed. Thousands of lights, millions of people, all of them oblivious to what was about to happen here. At exactly 8 o'clock, a figure emerged from the shadows. Ethan Cole looked older than Noah remembered. His hair had gone gray at the temples. Lines creased his face, but his eyes were the same, sharp, calculating, cold. Noah, Ethan said, stopping a few feet away. It's been a long time. Not long enough. Ethan smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Still angry, I see. You're leaking corporate intelligence to destroy Scarlett Hale's company, Noah said flatly. Yeah, I'm angry. Destroy? Ethan laughed. No, Noah. I'm just evening the score. By threatening people? By blackmailing employees? By doing what needs to be done, Ethan said. You of all people should understand that. Noah's jaw tightened. What do you want? To give you a choice, Ethan said. Walk away. Take your daughter and disappear. I'll make sure you're taken care of. New identity, new city, enough money to live comfortably. All you have to do is stop helping Scarlett. And if I don't? Ethan's expression hardened. Then I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are. What you did. The Mercer Group collapse wasn't just corporate espionage, Noah. People lost everything because of you. Careers, families, lives. Some of them want revenge. And if they find out where you are, they won't, Noah interrupted. Are you sure about that? Ethan pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, then turned it to face Noah. On the screen was a photograph. Emma, walking out of her school, her pink backpack bouncing as she skipped down the steps. Noah's blood turned to ice. Touch her, he said, his voice low and dangerous, and I will end you. I'm not going to touch her, Ethan said calmly. But I can't control what other people do. And there are a lot of angry people out there, Noah. People who've been waiting years for a chance to settle old scores. Noah took a step forward. Ethan didn't move. You have 48 hours, Ethan said. After that, the information goes public. And you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, wondering when someone's going to come for you, or worse, for her. He pocketed his phone and turned to leave. Ethan, Noah called out. Ethan paused, glancing back. You're making a mistake. Ethan smiled. No, Noah. You made the mistake. 6 years ago, when you decided to play hero. Now you get to live with the consequences. Then he was gone, disappearing into the night like a ghost. Noah stood there for a long time, staring at the water. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. He pulled out his phone and dialed. Scarlett answered immediately. What happened? We need to talk, Noah said. In person, tonight. Where? Your office. 1 hour. I'll be there. Noah hung up and started walking back toward his car. His mind was racing, trying to figure out his next move. Ethan had made this personal, and that was a mistake. Because when things got personal, Noah didn't play by the rules anymore. Scarlett was waiting in her office when Noah arrived. She'd changed out of her business suit into jeans and a sweater, the first time he'd seen her in anything casual. It made her look younger, more human. Tell me, she said as soon as he walked in. Noah closed the door and sat down. Then he told her everything. The meeting with Ethan, the threats, the photograph of Emma. When he finished, Scarlett was silent for a long moment. Then she said, He's bluffing. No, Noah said. He's not. How do you know? Because I know Ethan. He doesn't make threats he can't back up. Scarlett leaned back in her chair, studying him. So what do you want to do? I want to destroy him, Noah said quietly. Completely. No mercy. No second chances. Good, Scarlett said, because so do I. Noah blinked. You're not going to tell me to walk away? To protect Emma? Walking away won't protect her, Scarlett said. Ethan's already made his move. If you disappear now, he'll just find another way to come after you. The only way to keep Emma safe is to take him down first. Noah stared at her. You're not what I expected. Neither are you. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Scarlett stood up and walked over to a cabinet in the corner. She opened it, pulled out a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses, and poured. Here, she said, handing one to Noah. He took it. I don't usually drink. Make an exception. They clinked glasses and drank. The whiskey burned going down, but it steadied Noah's nerves. Tell me about the Mercer Group, Scarlett said, sitting back down. The real story, not the sanitized version. Noah set his glass down. You sure you want to know? I wouldn't ask if I didn't. Noah exhaled slowly. I was their head of security. My job was to protect the executives, manage threats, handle problems. I was good at it, really good. And for a while I didn't ask questions. I just did what I was told. What changed? I found out what they were really doing, Noah said. Money laundering, extortion, blackmail. They weren't just bending the rules, they were breaking them in every way possible, and people were getting hurt. So you went to the authorities? No, Noah said. I tried, but the authorities were already in their pocket. Cops, judges, politicians, everyone. So I did the only thing I could. I gathered evidence, everything I could find, financial records, communications, proof of every illegal thing they'd ever done, and then I leaked it, all of it, to the press, to regulators, to anyone who would listen. Scarlett's eyes widened slightly. You destroyed them from the inside. Yeah. And Ethan was part of it. He was one of the top executives, Noah said. When everything came out, he lost his job, his reputation, his future. A lot of people did, and some of them blamed me. Did you ever regret it? Noah thought about that. No. I regret that I didn't see it sooner, that I didn't act faster, but I don't regret taking them down. Scarlett nodded slowly. You did the right thing. That doesn't make it easier. It never does. They drank in silence for a while. Then Scarlett said, My father built this company from nothing. He was tough, brilliant, but he made enemies. A lot of them. And 3 years ago, someone decided they'd had enough. The car accident. It wasn't an accident, Scarlett said quietly. The brakes were tampered with. The police ruled it mechanical failure, but I had the car examined by independent experts. They found evidence of sabotage. Did you tell the police? I tried. They weren't interested, said I was grieving, that I needed closure, that accidents happen. She laughed bitterly. But I knew. And I've been looking for proof ever since. You think Ethan's connected to your father's death? I don't know, Scarlett admitted. But the timing's suspicious. The Mercer Group collapsed 6 years ago. My father died 3 years ago. And now Ethan's targeting me. That's not coincidence. Noah leaned forward. What did your father do before he died? He was expanding, aggressively, buying up smaller companies, consolidating power. He made a lot of people nervous. Including Meridian Corp? Scarlett's eyes sharpened. Yes, they tried to buy us out twice. My father refused both times, said he'd rather burn the company to the ground than sell to them. Noah's mind was racing now, connecting dots. What if your father knew something? About Meridian? About what they were doing? Like what? I don't know yet, Noah said, but Ethan didn't just randomly target you. He's been planning this. And if he's working with Meridian, it's because they want something. Information, leverage, or revenge. Scarlett stood up, pacing. We need to find out what my father knew, what he had on them. Do you have his files, his records? Some, but a lot of them disappeared after he died. His personal computer, his phone, even some physical documents from his office. Who had access? Everyone, Scarlett said frustratedly. The police, the lawyers, the board. It was chaos for weeks after he died. Noah thought for a moment. What about backups, cloud storage? I checked. Nothing. What about his assistant? Did he have one? Scarlett stopped pacing. Margaret. She worked for him for 20 years, retired right after he died. Is she still alive? As far as I know. Then we need to talk to her, Noah said, standing up. Tonight. Scarlett checked her watch. It's almost 10. I don't care. If she knows something, we can't wait. Scarlett studied him for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, let me make a call. Margaret Winters lived in a quiet neighborhood about 30 minutes outside the city. Her house was small, well-maintained, with a garden out front and a porch light that flickered slightly. Scarlett knocked on the door. It took a minute, but eventually the door opened. Margaret was in her late 60s, gray-haired, with kind eyes that went wide when she saw Scarlett. Miss Hale, she said, surprised. What are you doing here? Say, she'd passé. I'm sorry to show up unannounced, Scarlett said, but I need to talk to you about my father. Margaret's expression shifted. Sadness, maybe guilt. It's late. Please, Scarlett said. It's important. Margaret hesitated, then nodded. Come in. They followed her inside. The house smelled like tea and old books. Margaret led them to a small living room and gestured for them to sit. Can I get you anything? She asked. No, thank you, Scarlett said. Margaret, I need to ask you about the days before my father died. Was he working on anything unusual? Anything that seemed to bother him? Margaret sat down slowly, her hands folded in her lap. He was always working on something, dear. Your father never stopped. But was there anything specific? A project? An investigation? Margaret was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, There was something, a file he kept locked in his desk. He wouldn't let anyone see it. Not even me. Noah leaned forward. Do you know what was in it? No, but he was obsessed with it. He'd lock himself in his office for hours going through it. And then one day, it was gone. When? Scarlett asked. The day before he died. Scarlett's breath caught. Are you sure? Positive. I remember because I asked him about it. He said he'd moved it somewhere safe, that if anything happened to him, someone would know where to find it. Who? Noah asked. Margaret shook her head. He didn't say, but he seemed scared, and your father didn't scare easily. Scarlett stood up, pacing again. Did he say anything else, anything at all? Margaret thought hard, then her eyes widened. There was one thing. He told me if anything happened, I should tell you to check the lake house. Scarlett froze. The lake house? The one he bought when you were a child, the one you used to visit every summer. Scarlett turned to Noah. We sold that house years ago. Who bought it? Noah asked. I don't remember, Scarlett said. It was handled by the estate lawyers. Margaret stood up, walked over to a desk in the corner, and pulled out a small address book. She flipped through it, then wrote something on a piece of paper and handed it to Scarlett. This is the address, in case you forgot. Scarlett took it, staring at the paper. Thank you, Margaret. Be careful, dear, Margaret said quietly. Your father was a good man, but he made powerful enemies, and if they're still out there, we will, Scarlett said. They left, the door closing softly behind them. Tut. In the car, Scarlett sat in silence, staring at the address. Are you okay? Noah asked. I haven't been to that house in 15 years, Scarlett said. Not since my mother died. We don't have to go tonight. Yes, we do, Scarlett interrupted. If my father hid something there, Ethan might already know about it. We can't waste time. Noah started the car. How far is it? About 2 hours. Noah pulled out of the driveway and headed for the highway. The city lights faded behind them, replaced by darkness and empty roads. They drove in silence for a while. Then Scarlett said, Why are you doing this? What do you mean? Helping me, she said. You could have walked away, taken Ethan's offer, disappeared. I told you I don't run anymore. That's not the whole truth. Noah glanced at her. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me why you really stayed, Scarlett said, because it's not just about protecting Emma. You could do that from anywhere. So why here? Why this? Noah was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Because I'm tired of hiding. I spent 5 years pretending to be someone I'm not, living half a life. And I thought that was enough. But it's not. Emma deserves better than a father who's too scared to stand up for what's right. And what about you? Scarlett asked. What do you deserve? Noah didn't answer. Scarlett studied him in the dim light from the dashboard. You're not doing this for Emma. You're doing it for yourself, because you need to prove that you're still the person you used to be. Maybe, Noah admitted. Or maybe I just want to stop being afraid. Scarlett nodded slowly. I understand that. Do you? More than you know. They fell into silence again, the road stretching out ahead of them. The lake house appeared just after midnight. It was smaller than Noah expected, a single-story cabin nestled among trees with a view of the water. The current owners had clearly maintained it well. Fresh paint, new shutters, a small dock extending into the lake. Scarlett stared at it for a long moment. You okay? Noah asked. Yeah, she said quietly. Let's go. They got out of the car and walked up to the front door. Scarlett knocked. No answer. She knocked again, harder this time. Still nothing. Maybe they're asleep, Noah said. Or maybe no one's home. Scarlett tried the door handle. Locked. Noah looked around. We could come back tomorrow. No, Scarlett said firmly. She walked around to the side of the house, peering into windows. Noah followed. Scarlett, we can't just break in. Watch me. She found a window that was slightly ajar, probably for ventilation, and pushed it open wider. Then she hoisted herself up and climbed through. Noah stood there for a second, torn between common sense and loyalty. Then he sighed and followed her inside. The house was dark and quiet. Moonlight filtered through the windows, casting long shadows across the floor. The furniture was different from what Scarlett remembered, but the layout was the same. This way, she whispered, heading down a hallway. She stopped in front of a door at the end. Her father's old study. Scarlett pushed it open. The room had been converted into a home office, desk, bookshelf, computer. Nothing remarkable. "What are we looking for?" Noah asked. "I don't know," Scarlett admitted. "Something hidden, something my father would have thought was safe." They searched for 20 minutes, checked drawers, moved furniture, looked for loose floorboards. Nothing. Scarlett sat down on the floor, frustrated. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there's nothing here. Noah stood by the window, thinking. Then he turned. "Your father was smart, right? Careful?" "Very. So he wouldn't hide something in an obvious place. He'd hide it somewhere only he would think to look." Scarlett stood up. "Like where?" Noah looked around the room. Then his eyes landed on the bookshelf. "What was your father's favorite book?" Scarlett blinked. "What?" "Everyone has one, a book they read over and over." "What was his?" Scarlett thought for a moment. "The Count of Monte Cristo." Noah walked over to the bookshelf and started scanning the titles. Then he stopped, pulled out a worn copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. The book was hollowed out. Inside was a USB drive. Scarlett's eyes widened. "How did you—" "Lucky guess," Noah said, handing it to her. Scarlett stared at the USB drive like it was a bomb. "We need to see what's on this." "Not here," Noah said. "We need to get out before—" A car door slammed outside. They both froze. Voices. 2 people. Coming toward the house. "Move!" Noah hissed. They ran back down the hallway, heading for the window they'd climbed through, but before they reached it, the front door opened. Lights flicked on. Noah grabbed Scarlett's arm and pulled her into a closet, closing the door quietly behind them. They stood in the darkness, pressed together, barely breathing. Footsteps echoed through the house. A man's voice. "I swear I locked that window." A woman's voice. "Maybe the wind—" "I'm checking it out." The footsteps came closer. Noah's hand moved to his pocket. He didn't carry a gun anymore. Hadn't in years. But he had a knife. Just in case. The footsteps stopped right outside the closet. Noah's grip tightened on the knife. Then the footsteps moved away. "It's fine. Probably just the latch." "Come to bed," the woman called. Yeah. More footsteps. A door closing. Silence. Noah and Scarlett waited. 5 minutes. 10. Finally, Noah whispered, "Now." They slipped out of the closet, moving silently through the house, out the window, across the yard, into the car. Noah started the engine and pulled away slowly, headlights off until they were back on the main road. Then Scarlett started laughing. Noah glanced at her. "What?" "I just broke into someone's house," she said, still laughing. "Me. A CEO. Breaking and entering. Technically, we climbed through an open window." "Still illegal." "Yeah." She laughed harder, the tension breaking. And despite everything, Noah found himself smiling. "You're insane," he said. "Maybe," Scarlett agreed, "but so are you." They drove in silence for a while. Then Scarlett plugged the USB drive into her laptop. A folder appeared. Dozens of files, documents, emails, audio recordings. Scarlett opened one at random. It was an email from her father to someone named Richard Vance, dated 3 days before his death. The subject line read, "Proof of fraud, Meridian Corp." Scarlett's hands started shaking. "Noah," she whispered. "This is it. This is what they've been looking for." Noah kept his eyes on the road. "What does it say?" Scarlett read aloud. "Richard, I've confirmed what we suspected. Meridian has been falsifying financial reports for years, inflating assets, hiding liabilities. If this goes public, they'll collapse. I'm sending you copies of everything. Keep them safe. If anything happens to me, make sure Scarlett gets this." She looked up, her face pale. "My father knew. He knew Meridian was corrupt, and he was going to expose them. And they killed him to stop it," Noah said grimly. Scarlett scrolled through more files, bank records, forged documents, communications between Meridian executives discussing how to cover up the fraud. And there, near the bottom, was a video file labeled Board Meeting, Confidential. Scarlett clicked it. The video showed a conference room, several men in suits sitting around a table, and there, at the head of the table, was someone Noah recognized, Ethan Cole. Pause it, Noah said. Scarlett did. That's Ethan. Which means he wasn't just an employee, he was part of their leadership. Scarlett's jaw tightened. He helped orchestrate the fraud. And when your father found out, he became a target. Scarlett closed the laptop, her hands still shaking. We have to go public with this. Expose them. Destroy them. We will, Noah said, but not yet. Why not? Because if we release this now, Ethan will disappear. He'll cover his tracks. We need to use this to draw him out. Make him think he's won. Then we hit him with everything. Scarlett stared at him. You want to bait him? Yes. That's dangerous. I know. He threatened Emma. Which is why we're going to end this, Noah said. Permanently. Scarlett was quiet for a long moment, then she nodded. Okay, what do we do? First, we make copies of everything on that drive. Multiple copies. Store them in different locations. Then we reach out to Ethan. Tell him we're willing to negotiate. He'll never believe that. He will if we give him something he wants. Like what? Noah smiled grimly. Me. Scarlett stared at Noah like he'd lost his mind. Absolutely not. It's the only way, Noah said, keeping his eyes on the road. Ethan wants me gone. If I offer myself up, he'll take the bait. And then what? He kills you? He'll try. That's not reassuring. Noah glanced at her. I'm not planning on dying, Scarlett, but I need him to think he's won, that I'm vulnerable, scared. It's the only way to get him close enough to take down. Scarlett shook her head. There has to be another way. There isn't. We've got evidence, yeah. But Ethan's smart. If we go public now, he'll lawyer up, disappear, or worse, he'll accelerate whatever plan he's got. We need him off balance, confident. That's when people make mistakes. This is insane. Probably, Noah admitted, but it'll work. They drove in tense silence until they reached the outskirts of the city. Dawn was starting to break, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Noah's phone buzzed, a text from his neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who sometimes watched Emma when he worked late. Emma's fine. She had cereal and watched cartoons. Sleeping now. Call when you're back. Noah exhaled, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. At least Emma was safe. For now. Scarlett noticed. Your daughter? Yeah, my neighbor's got her. You trust her? With my life, Noah said. Mrs. Patterson raised 4 kids of her own. She's tougher than she looks. Scarlett nodded, staring out the window. What's she like? Emma. The question caught Noah off guard. She's 6, talks nonstop, loves penguins, hates broccoli, thinks I'm the strongest person in the world, even though I can barely do 10 push-ups anymore. A faint smile crossed Scarlett's face. Sounds like a good kid. She is. Noah's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Which is why I'm not letting Ethan anywhere near her. Then we do this smart, Scarlett said. We make copies like you said. We secure the evidence, and then we set the trap. But Noah, you're not going in alone. Scarlett, I mean it, she interrupted. You're not the only one with something to lose here. This is my company, my father, my fight. If you're putting yourself on the line, then so am I. Noah wanted to argue, but the look in her eyes told him it would be pointless. Scarlett Hale didn't back down. Ever. Fine, he said. But we do it my way. Agreed? Agreed. They arrived at Scarlett's office just after 6 in the morning. The building was still mostly empty, just a few custodians and early arrivals. Scarlett led Noah up to the 20th floor, past Caroline's empty desk, and into her office. She locked the door behind them. Noah immediately pulled out the USB drive and connected it to Scarlett's computer. While the files copied to her encrypted cloud storage, he made 2 additional physical copies on separate drives. One stays with you, he said, handing her a drive. One goes to someone you trust completely, a lawyer, a friend, someone outside the company. And the third? Insurance, Noah said, pocketing it. If something happens to both of us, this gets sent to every major news outlet in the country. Scarlett took the drive, turning it over in her hands. My father really did find all this. He was going to destroy them. And they killed him for it. We don't know that for sure. Yes, we do, Noah said gently. You know it. You've always known it. You just didn't have proof until now. Scarlett's eyes glistened, but she blinked the tears back. He was trying to protect me. He hid the evidence so they couldn't come after me too. He succeeded. You're still here, still fighting. But he's not. Noah didn't have a response to that. What could he say? That it would be okay? That justice would make up for losing her father? It wouldn't. It never did. Instead, he said, "We finish what he started. We make sure he didn't die for nothing." Scarlett nodded, composing herself. "Okay, what's the plan?" Noah pulled out his phone and opened a new message. "I'm going to text Ethan. Tell him I'm ready to negotiate, that I want guarantees for Emma's safety in exchange for walking away. He'll be suspicious. Let him be. Suspicion makes people careful, but greed makes them reckless. And Ethan wants me gone badly enough that he'll take the meeting." Noah typed out the message, his thumb hovering over the send button. Then he hit it. "We need to talk. Face to face. Name the place." The response came within 2 minutes. "Took you long enough. Tomorrow night. 9 p.m. Warehouse District, 5th and Carver. Come alone." Noah showed the screen to Scarlett. "A warehouse," she said flatly. "How original." "He's picking somewhere isolated, somewhere he controls. That's expected. Which means he's planning something." "Definitely," Noah said. "But so are we." The rest of the day was a blur. Noah went home, relieved Mrs. Patterson, and spent the afternoon with Emma. They went to the park. She swung on the swings while he pushed, her laughter bright and carefree. They got ice cream even though it was barely 60 degrees outside. She told him about a drawing she made at school, a picture of the two of them holding hands under a rainbow. "Do you like it, Daddy?" "I love it, sweetheart." "Can we put it on the fridge?" "Absolutely." That night, after Emma fell asleep clutching her stuffed penguin, Noah sat in the kitchen staring at the drawing now magnetized to the refrigerator door. Stick figures with oversized heads and bright smiles, a rainbow that looked more like a multicolored blob. It was perfect, and it was exactly what he was fighting for. His phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. "Found something. Call me." Noah stepped outside onto the small balcony and dialed. "What have you got?" he asked quietly. "Ethan's been busy," Marcus said. "He's not just working with Meridian. He's got connections to at least 3 other companies, all competitors of Scarlett's. He's been coordinating attacks from multiple angles." "Corporate sabotage?" "Worse. I'm talking hostile takeovers, stock manipulation, blackmail. He's trying to engineer a complete collapse. And if Scarlett's company goes down, Meridian swoops in and buys up the pieces for pennies on the dollar." Noah's jaw tightened. "How close is he?" "Closer than you think. He's got people inside her company feeding him information. And tomorrow night, that meeting, I guarantee it's a setup." "I know. And you're still going?" "Yeah." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "You got a death wish or something?" "No, I've got a plan." "Care to share?" "Not yet," Noah said, "but I need you to do something for me. Name it. If I don't contact you by midnight tomorrow, I need you to release everything on that USB drive. Send it to the SEC, the FBI, every news outlet you can think of. Burn Meridian and Ethan to the ground." "Noah, promise me, Marcus." Another pause, then reluctantly, "Yeah, okay, I promise." "Good. And Marcus? Thanks for everything." "Don't thank me yet. Just don't get yourself killed." The line went dead. Noah stood on the balcony for a long time, staring out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Ethan was planning his next move, probably feeling confident, probably thinking he'd already won. That was going to be his biggest mistake. The next evening, Noah dropped Emma off at Mrs. Patterson's house with her overnight bag. Emma hugged him tight. "I'll miss you, Daddy." "I'll miss you too, sweetheart, but I'll see you tomorrow morning. Promise." "Pinky promise?" Noah held out his pinky. She wrapped hers around it, squeezing tight. "Pinky promise." Mrs. Patterson stood in the doorway watching. She was 72, sharp as a tack, and had an uncanny ability to read people. "You be careful, Noah," she said quietly. "I will." "I mean it." "That girl needs her father." "I know." Mrs. Patterson studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Go do what you need to do. We'll be fine here." Noah drove to Scarlett's office. She was waiting in the parking garage dressed in dark jeans, a black jacket, and boots. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked nothing like a CEO and everything like someone ready for a fight. "You ready?" Noah asked. "As I'll ever be." They got into Noah's car. In the back seat were 2 duffel bags. One contained equipment, cameras, audio recorders, a couple of burner phones. The other contained something Scarlett had insisted on bringing despite Noah's objections, a gun. "You know how to use that?" Noah had asked when she first showed it to him. "My father taught me," Scarlett said. "I'm not great, but I can hit a target at 20 feet. Let's hope it doesn't come to that." Let's hope. They drove to the warehouse district in silence. The area was industrial, mostly abandoned at night. Factories that had closed down years ago. Empty lots filled with rusted equipment. Perfect for a meeting you didn't want anyone to witness. Noah parked 2 blocks away from the address Ethan had given. He and Scarlett got out, each carrying a duffel bag. "We've got 45 minutes, Noah said, checking his watch. "We set up surveillance first. Cameras on the exterior, audio inside if we can manage it. I want eyes on every exit. And if he's got people waiting, then we adapt." They moved quickly and quietly. Noah had done this kind of work before, setting up surveillance, anticipating threats. It came back to him easier than he expected. Muscle memory. They placed cameras at 3 corners of the warehouse, positioned to capture anyone entering or leaving. Noah also hid a small recording device near what looked like the main entrance, a rusted metal door hanging slightly ajar. Scarlett worked alongside him, quick and efficient. No complaints, no hesitation. "You've done this before," Noah observed. "No, but I'm a fast learner." By the time they finished, it was 8:50 p.m., 10 minutes until the meeting. Noah checked the video feed on his phone. All 3 cameras were live and recording. "Okay, I'm going in." Scarlett grabbed his arm. "Noah, wait." He turned. "If this goes wrong, it won't." "But if it does," she insisted, "I need you to know something. You were right. About me. I'm not doing this just for the company or my father. I'm doing it because I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of letting them win." Noah met her eyes. "Then let's make sure they don't." He turned and walked toward the warehouse entrance. The inside of the warehouse was exactly what Noah expected. Concrete floors, high ceilings with exposed beams, broken windows letting in slivers of moonlight, shadows everywhere. And in the center, standing under a flickering overhead light, was Ethan Cole. He wasn't alone. 2 men flanked him, both large, both armed. Professionals, probably ex-military or private security. Ethan smiled when he saw Noah. "Right on time. I appreciate punctuality." Noah stopped about 15 feet away, hands visible, posture relaxed, non-threatening. "Let's get this over with. Straight to business." "I like that." Ethan gestured to the men beside him. "Don't worry about them. They're just here to make sure you don't do anything stupid." "I'm not here to fight, Ethan. I'm here to negotiate." "Good. Then let's negotiate." Ethan pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and turned it toward Noah. On the screen was a live feed. Emma's school. Riverside Elementary, the playground empty in the evening darkness. Noah's blood turned to ice. "Relax," Ethan said. "She's not there. But I could have people there in 10 minutes, so let's make sure we understand each other." "I understand you perfectly," Noah said, his voice low and dangerous. "Do you?" "Because I'm offering you a way out, Noah. A clean break. You disappear. I make sure no one from your past ever finds you or your daughter. You get to live a quiet, peaceful life. All I need in return is for you to walk away from Scarlett Hale and her company." "And if I don't?" Ethan's smile faded. "Then your daughter grows up without a father, and you spend whatever time you have left looking over your shoulder, waiting for someone to come finish what I started." Noah took a slow breath. "You really think I'd trust you? After everything?" "You don't have a choice." "There's always a choice." Ethan's expression hardened. "Then choose wisely, because this is the last offer you're going to get." Noah was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I want proof. Proof that you'll leave Emma alone. Proof that you'll honor your word." "You're not in a position to make demands?" "Yes, I am," Noah interrupted. "Because you need me gone more than I need to trust you. If I walk out of here and tell Scarlett everything, your whole plan falls apart. So yeah, I'm making demands, and you're going to meet them. Ethan studied him. Then he laughed. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Proof, Ethan. Or I walk. Ethan's jaw tightened. Then he pulled out his phone again and made a call. Stand down, he said into the phone. We're negotiating. He hung up and looked at Noah. There. Happy? Not even close, but it's a start. Now it's your turn, Ethan said. Give me your word. Walk away from Scarlett. Stop interfering, and we're done. Noah hesitated. Then he nodded slowly. Okay? You win. I'm out. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Just like that? Just like that? I don't believe you. I don't care what you believe, Noah said. I'm a father first. Everything else comes second. If walking away keeps Emma safe, then I walk away. Ethan stared at him for a long moment. Then he smiled. You know what? I actually believe you. You really are that pathetic. Noah said nothing. Here's what's going to happen, Ethan continued. You're going to leave town, tonight. I don't care where you go. Just make sure it's far. And if I ever hear your name again, if you so much as send Scarlett an email, I'll make sure Emma regrets it. Understood. Ethan turned to leave. Then he stopped. One more thing. That USB drive your friend Scarlett has. I want it. Noah frowned. What USB drive? Don't play dumb. I know you found it. Your father-in-law's little insurance policy. I want it now. I don't have it. Then get it. I told you, I don't. One of Ethan's men stepped forward, raising his gun. Noah raised his hands. Okay. Scarlett has it. I can call her. Tell her to bring it. Do it. Noah pulled out his phone slowly. He dialed Scarlett's number. She answered immediately. Noah? Scarlett, listen carefully. Ethan wants the USB drive. I need you to bring it here, now. Noah, Just do it, he said, his tone urgent. Please. There was a pause. Then Scarlett said, Okay, I'm coming. Noah hung up. Ethan smiled. Smart man, see? We can work together. They waited in tense silence, 5 minutes, 10. Then the warehouse door creaked open. Scarlett walked in, holding a small bag. She looked calm, composed. But Noah could see the tension in her shoulders. Scarlett Hale, Ethan said, spreading his arms. So good of you to join us. Ethan! Her voice was ice. I should have known you were behind this. Of course you should have. I'm the only one smart enough to pull it off. He gestured to the bag. Is that it? It's here. Toss it over. Scarlett didn't move. Let Noah go first. Ethan laughed. You're not in a position to negotiate. Neither are you, Scarlett said. Because if anything happens to me or Noah, this drive gets released to every federal agency and media outlet in the country. Automatically. I've got it set up on a dead man's switch. Ethan's smile faded. You're bluffing. Try me. They stood there, locked in a stalemate. Then Ethan sighed. Fine. Noah walks. But you stay until I verify the contents of that drive. No, Noah said. Excuse me? I said no, Noah repeated. We both walk, or you get nothing. Ethan's eyes darkened. You're really starting to annoy me, Noah. Good, because you've been annoying me for weeks. One of Ethan's men raised his gun again, this time pointing it directly at Noah's chest. Ethan held up a hand. Not yet. He turned to Scarlett. Give me the drive. Both of you walk. I verify the contents later. Deal? Scarlett looked at Noah. He gave a barely perceptible nod. She tossed the bag. It landed at Ethan's feet. He picked it up, opened it, and pulled out the USB drive. He examined it, then pocketed it. Pleasure doing business with you, Ethan said. Then he nodded to his men. Kill them. The guns came up. Noah moved. He'd been waiting for this, anticipating it, because he knew Ethan would never let them walk out alive. Noah dove to the side as the first shot rang out, pulling a small device from his pocket and hitting the button. The warehouse exploded with light. Flashbangs. Noah had planted them earlier, hidden in the shadows. They detonated simultaneously, blinding and deafening everyone in the building. Noah grabbed Scarlett, pulling her behind a stack of crates as bullets tore through the air where they'd been standing. Go, he shouted. They ran. Behind them, Ethan was screaming orders. His men were recovering, searching for targets. Noah and Scarlett sprinted toward a side exit he'd scouted earlier. They burst through the door and into the night. Headlights flared. A car screeched to a halt in front of them. The driver's side door opened. Marcus. "Get in," he shouted. Noah shoved Scarlett into the back seat and dove in after her. Marcus hit the gas before Noah even closed the door. Gunfire erupted behind them. Bullets pinged off the car's rear bumper. Marcus yanked the wheel, fishtailing around a corner. "You two have a real talent for pissing people off." "Just drive," Noah yelled. Marcus floored it, weaving through the industrial streets. Behind them, headlights appeared. Ethan's men, giving chase. "They're following us," Scarlett said. "I noticed." Marcus swerved onto a main road, barely missing an oncoming truck. Noah turned in his seat, looking back. 2 cars, both closing fast. "Marcus, we need to lose them." "Working on it." Marcus took a hard right, then a left, threading through traffic. Horns blared, people shouted. But Marcus didn't slow down. One of the pursuing cars tried to follow, but clipped a parked vehicle and spun out. The other kept coming. "Still got one on us," Noah said. Marcus grinned. "Not for long." He accelerated, blowing through a red light, and took a sharp turn into an underground parking garage. The pursuing car followed. Marcus killed the headlights and slammed on the brakes, throwing the car into reverse. He backed into a parking space between 2 vans, hidden from view. The pursuing car roared past, its driver searching frantically. They sat in silence, hearts pounding. The other car circled the garage once, twice. Then, finally, it sped back up the exit ramp and disappeared. Marcus exhaled. "We good?" "For now," Noah said. Scarlett was pale, gripping the door handle. "What the hell just happened?" "Ethan tried to kill us," Noah said, "but we were ready." "That USB drive you gave him, fake," Noah said, "loaded with garbage files. The real one's still safe." Scarlett stared at him. "You planned this, the whole thing." "Most of it." "And you didn't tell me?" "If you'd known, you might have acted differently. Ethan needed to believe he was in control." Scarlett looked like she wanted to hit him. Then she started laughing. "You're insane." "Yeah, you mentioned that." Marcus looked back at them. "Hate to interrupt, but where am I going?" "Somewhere safe," Noah said. "Somewhere Ethan won't think to look." "And where's that?" Noah thought for a moment, then he pulled out his phone and dialed. Mrs. Patterson answered. "Noah, is everything okay?" "Not exactly," Noah said. "I need a favor." Mrs. Patterson's house was quiet when they arrived, just after midnight. She met them at the door in her bathrobe, her expression tight with concern, but her voice steady as ever. "Come in quickly," she said, ushering them inside. Emma was asleep upstairs, oblivious to the chaos swirling around her father. Noah felt a wave of relief so intense it nearly buckled his knees. She was safe. That was all that mattered. Mrs. Patterson looked at the 3 of them, Noah, Scarlett, and Marcus, and crossed her arms. "I've got coffee on. You look like you need it." They gathered in her small kitchen. The house smelled like cinnamon and old wood, comforting in a way that felt almost foreign to Noah after the violence of the past few hours. His hands were still shaking slightly as he wrapped them around the mug Mrs. Patterson handed him. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for everything." "You can thank me by telling me what's going on," Mrs. Patterson said, sitting down across from him. "And don't lie to me, Noah Bennett. I've known you long enough to know when you're in trouble." Noah glanced at Scarlett, then at Marcus. Then he took a breath and told her. Not everything. He left out the worst parts, the parts that would make her worry even more. But enough. The threats, the confrontation, the narrow escape. Mrs. Patterson listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "How long do you need to stay?" "A day, maybe 2, just until we figure out our next move." "And this man, Ethan, he knows where you live?" "Probably." "Then Emma can't go back there, not yet." "I know." Mrs. Patterson nodded. "She'll stay here, with me, for as long as it takes." "Mrs. Patterson, I can't ask you to—" "You're not asking," she said firmly. "I'm offering. That little girl upstairs needs protecting, and you can't do it if you're running around trying to stop this Ethan person. So you do what you need to do. I'll keep her safe." Noah felt something crack in his chest. Gratitude, relief. Something deeper he couldn't quite name. "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't need to repay me," Mrs. Patterson said. "You're a good father, Noah. A good man. And good men deserve help when they need it. Scarlett, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Mrs. Patterson, this could be dangerous. If Ethan finds out, let him try, Mrs. Patterson said, her voice like steel. I raised 4 boys in this house. I've dealt with worse than some corporate thug. Marcus grinned. I like her. Mrs. Patterson shot him a look. Don't get comfortable. You're sleeping on the couch. Yes, ma'am. Noah allowed himself a small smile. Then he stood. I need to check on Emma, just for a minute. Mrs. Patterson gestured toward the stairs. Second door on the right. Be quiet. She finally fell asleep an hour ago. Noah climbed the stairs, his footsteps soft on the worn carpet. He opened the door to the guest room and slipped inside. Emma was curled up under a patchwork quilt, her stuffed penguin tucked under one arm. Her face was peaceful, her breathing steady. She looked so small, so fragile. Noah sat on the edge of the bed and gently brushed a strand of hair from her forehead. She stirred slightly but didn't wake. I'm going to fix this, he whispered. I promise. He stayed there for a few more minutes, just watching her sleep. Then he stood, kissed her forehead, and left the room. When he came back downstairs, Scarlett and Marcus were deep in conversation. They looked up as he entered. We've got a problem, Marcus said. Just one? Noah asked dryly. Ethan knows the drive you gave him is fake by now, which means he's going to come after you harder than before. Let him. Noah, I mean it, Noah said. We've got the real evidence. We've got proof of everything Meridian's done. All we need now is to get it to the right people. Scarlett leaned forward. The SEC, the FBI. We send it to both, along with copies to major news outlets. We bury them. And what about Ethan? Marcus asked. He's not going to just sit back and let that happen. He won't have a choice, Noah said. Once the evidence goes public, he's done. Meridian's done. They'll be too busy trying to save themselves to come after us. Unless they decide to tie up loose ends first, Marcus countered. You, me, Scarlett, we're all witnesses. They could try to take us out before the story breaks. Noah knew Marcus was right. Ethan was desperate now. Desperate people did desperate things. Then we move fast, Noah said. We release everything tomorrow morning, first thing, before Ethan has a chance to regroup. Scarlett nodded. I'll handle the media contacts. I know people at the major outlets. They'll run the story. And I'll get the files to the feds, Marcus said. I've got a contact at the FBI. She owes me a favor. Noah looked at both of them. Once we do this, there's no going back. Ethan and Meridian will know it was us. They'll come after us with everything they've got. Good, Scarlett said, her voice hard. Let them come. Marcus raised his coffee mug. To burning it all down. Scarlett and Noah raised theirs. To burning it all down, they echoed. They drank. The next morning, Noah woke up on Mrs. Patterson's couch with a crick in his neck and Marcus snoring in the recliner across from him. Scarlett had taken the other guest room upstairs. Sunlight streamed through the windows, warm and bright, completely at odds with the weight Noah felt pressing down on his chest. Today was the day. They were going to expose Meridian, expose Ethan, burn it all down, just like they'd said. But first he needed to see Emma. He found her in the kitchen, sitting at the table with a bowl of cereal and a coloring book. Mrs. Patterson was at the stove, making scrambled eggs. Daddy! Emma's face lit up when she saw him. She jumped down from her chair and ran over, wrapping her arms around his waist. Noah hugged her tight. Hey, sweetheart, did you sleep okay? Uh-huh. Mrs. Patterson let me watch cartoons before bed. That was nice of her. Emma looked up at him, her expression suddenly serious. Are you okay, Daddy? You look tired. I'm fine, Noah said, forcing a smile. Just had a busy night. Doing what? Grown-up stuff. Nothing you need to worry about. Emma frowned, clearly not satisfied with that answer. But before she could press further, Mrs. Patterson set a plate of eggs on the table. Eat, she said to Noah. You look like you haven't had a proper meal in days. I'm not really hungry. I didn't ask if you were hungry. I said, eat. Noah sat down and ate. Scarlett appeared a few minutes later, looking more put together than anyone had a right to after the night they'd had. She'd somehow managed to find time to shower and change into clothes she must have kept in her car. She greeted Emma with a small smile. You must be Emma, Scarlett said. Emma eyed her curiously. Who are you? I'm a friend of your dad's. My name's Scarlett. That's a pretty name.
Thank you. So is Emma. Emma grinned, then went back to her coloring book. Scarlett sat down next to Noah, lowering her voice. Marcus is already working on getting the files to his FBI contact. I've got calls set up with 3 major outlets: New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal. They'll all have the story by noon. Noah nodded. Good. What about legal? Meridian's going to come after us with lawsuits the second this goes live.
Let them, Scarlett said. We've got the truth on our side, and once the federal investigation starts, they'll be too buried to come after us legally. And illegally? Scarlett's jaw tightened. That's why we're staying here. For now. Until we know it's safe. Emma looked up from her coloring book. Are you staying here too, Miss Scarlett? Just for a little while, Scarlett said. Is that okay? Emma nodded enthusiastically. Can you color with me? Scarlett glanced at Noah, who shrugged. She smiled. Sure, why not? Noah watched as Scarlett sat down next to his daughter, picking up a crayon and starting to fill in a butterfly on the page. Emma chattered away, explaining her color choices and pointing out her favorite parts of the drawing. Scarlett listened patiently, nodding in the right places, asking questions. It was such a normal, mundane moment, and yet it felt significant in a way Noah couldn't quite articulate. Mrs. Patterson caught his eye from across the kitchen. She raised an eyebrow, a knowing look on her face. Noah quickly looked away, feeling heat creep up his neck. Marcus stumbled into the kitchen a few minutes later, looking like he'd been hit by a truck. Coffee, he croaked. Please? Mrs. Patterson handed him a mug. There's eggs if you want them. Bless you. As Marcus inhaled his breakfast, Noah's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You made a big mistake, Noah. Enjoy what time you have left. Noah deleted the message without responding. Ethan was rattled. Good. Another buzz, this time from Marcus's FBI contact. Files received, opening a case. Stay safe. Noah showed the message to Scarlett. She exhaled, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. It's happening. Yeah, Noah said. It's happening. Over the next few hours, everything moved fast. Scarlett made her calls, sending encrypted files to her media contacts. The reporters were skeptical at first. Corporate fraud stories were common, after all. But once they saw the evidence, their tune changed. By 11 a.m., all 3 outlets had confirmed they were running the story. By noon, the first article went live. The headline read, Meridian Corp accused of massive fraud. Whistleblower evidence suggests years of financial manipulation. Within minutes, the story was everywhere. Social media exploded. Cable news picked it up. Meridian's stock price went into freefall. Noah watched it all unfold on his phone, sitting in Mrs. Patterson's living room. Scarlett sat next to him, her expression unreadable. We did it, she said quietly. Yeah, Noah said, we did. But he didn't feel triumphant. He felt exhausted and worried, because Ethan was still out there, and men like Ethan didn't go down without a fight. As if on cue, his phone rang. Unknown number. Noah answered. Hello? You think you've won? Ethan's voice was cold, furious. You think exposing us changes anything? It changes everything, Noah said calmly. You're done, Ethan. Meridian's done. It's over. It's not over until I say it's over. Then I guess it's never over, but you're still going to prison. Ethan laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. Prison? You really think they'll convict me? I've got the best lawyers money can buy. I'll tie this up in court for years, and in the meantime, I'll make sure you and everyone you care about pays for what you've done. You can try, Noah said, but you're not going to get near my daughter, or Scarlett, or anyone else. We'll see about that. The line went dead. Noah set the phone down, his jaw tight. Scarlett looked at him. What did he say? He's not backing down. I didn't expect him to. Marcus, who'd been listening from the doorway, spoke up. He's bluffing. He's got nothing left. Maybe, Noah said, but I'm not taking chances. He stood up. We need to move Emma, somewhere even more secure. Where? Scarlett asked. I don't know yet, but not here. If Ethan's desperate enough, he might... The front window shattered. Glass exploded inward. Emma screamed. Mrs. Patterson shouted. Noah dove toward his daughter, pulling her down behind the couch as another window broke. Get down! Marcus yelled. More glass.
More noise, then silence. Noah's heart pounded in his ears. He looked down at Emma, checking for injuries. She was crying but unhurt. "You're okay," he said, his voice shaking. "You're okay, sweetheart. I've got you."
Mrs. Patterson was on the floor by the kitchen, eyes wide but steady. Scarlett had ducked behind the recliner. Marcus was already moving toward the broken windows, staying low. He picked up something from the floor. A brick, with a note wrapped around it. Marcus unfolded the note and read it aloud. "Last warning, walk away, or the next one won't be a brick." Noah's vision went red. He stood up, hands clenched into fists. "Noah," Scarlett started. "I'm done running," Noah said, his voice low and dangerous. "I'm done hiding. I'm done letting him threaten my daughter." "What are you going to do?" Noah looked at her. "I'm going to end this. Tonight." Marcus tried to talk him out of it. So did Scarlett. Even Mrs. Patterson, who'd seen her share of trouble, told him it was a bad idea. But Noah wasn't listening. He made arrangements, called in favors, reached out to people he hadn't spoken to in years, former colleagues from his security days, people who owed him, people who understood the kind of fight he was about to pick. By nightfall, he had a plan. And by 9 p.m., he was standing outside Ethan's penthouse apartment building in the heart of the city. Ethan lived on the top floor, 42 stories up, security at the entrance, cameras everywhere. But Noah had dealt with worse. He slipped past the front desk. Security was lax this time of night, distracted by a delivery Noah had arranged as a diversion. He took the service elevator up, his heart steady, his mind clear. When he reached the 42nd floor, he found Ethan's door and knocked. Ethan answered, surprised. "Noah, I have to admit, I didn't expect you to come here." "We need to talk," Noah said. "Do we?" Ethan stepped aside, gesturing for Noah to enter. "By all means, come in." Noah walked into the apartment. It was sleek, modern, expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. A bottle of scotch sat on the bar. Ethan poured himself a glass. "Want one?" "No. Suit yourself." Ethan took a sip, studying Noah. "So, what do you want to talk about?" "You threatened my daughter." "I did. That was a mistake." Ethan smiled. "Was it? Because from where I'm standing, you're the one who made the mistake. You exposed Meridian, you ruined me, and now you think you can just walk in here and what? Intimidate me?" "No," Noah said. "I'm here to give you a choice." "A choice?" "You leave. Tonight. Disappear. Go somewhere far away and never come back. And in exchange, I don't turn over the additional evidence I have, the evidence that ties you directly to my father-in-law's murder." Ethan's smile faded. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Noah pulled out his phone and played a video. It was footage from Scarlett's father's car, the dash cam. It showed the moments before the crash, and in the reflection of the rearview mirror, a face, Ethan's face, in a car following close behind. Ethan's expression went cold. "Where did you get that?" Scarlett's father had cameras everywhere. He was paranoid. Turns out he had good reason to be. Noah pocketed the phone. "The feds don't have this yet, but they will, unless you disappear." Ethan stared at him for a long moment. Then he laughed. "You think I'm just going to run, leave everything behind? You don't have a choice." "There's always a choice, Noah. You taught me that." Ethan set his glass down. Then, faster than Noah expected, he pulled a gun from behind the bar and aimed it at Noah's chest. "Here's my choice," Ethan said. "I kill you, I destroy that evidence, and I disappear on my own terms." Noah didn't move. "You pull that trigger, and every copy of that video goes public. Automatically, you'll be a wanted man for murder. You'll never be safe." "Maybe," Ethan said, "but at least you'll be dead." They stood there, locked in a standoff. The city lights glittered behind them, oblivious. Then Noah said, "You're not going to shoot me, Ethan." "Why not?" "Because you're not a killer. You're a coward. You hire people to do your dirty work. You manipulate. You threaten. But you don't pull the trigger yourself." Ethan's hand tightened on the gun. "You don't know me." "I know you better than you think." For a moment, Noah thought Ethan might actually do it, might actually pull the trigger. But then the apartment door burst open. Federal agents flooded in, guns drawn, shouting commands. "Drop the weapon! Hands up! Now!"
Ethan's eyes went wide. He looked at Noah, betrayed. You set me up. Yeah, Noah said. I did. Ethan dropped the gun. The agent swarmed him, cuffing his hands behind his back. One of them read him his rights. As they led Ethan out, he looked back at Noah one last time. This isn't over. Yes, Noah said. It is. The agents took Ethan away. The lead agent, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes, walked over to Noah. Mr. Bennett, thanks for your cooperation. Just doing what needed to be done, Noah said. We'll need your full statement and the evidence. You'll have it. The agent nodded. We've been after Meridian for years. This is the break we needed. Good. She left. The apartment was empty now, silent except for the hum of the city outside. Noah stood there for a moment, letting it all sink in. It was over. Really over. He pulled out his phone and called Scarlett. She answered immediately. Noah? Are you okay? I'm fine. It's done. Ethan's in custody. He heard her exhale, relief flooding her voice. Thank God. How's Emma? She's okay. Mrs. Patterson's reading her a story. Noah closed his eyes. I'll be there soon. Noah? Yeah? Thank you. He smiled. Thank you too. He hung up and walked out of the apartment, leaving the shattered remnants of Ethan's life behind him. Outside, the city glowed. Somewhere in it, his daughter was safe. Scarlett was safe. And for the first time in a long time, Noah felt like he could breathe. Noah drove back to Mrs. Patterson's house in silence, his hands steady on the wheel for the first time in weeks. The adrenaline had faded, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion that felt almost comfortable. It was the kind of tired you earned, the kind that came after you'd done something that mattered. The streets were quiet. Most of the city was asleep. But Noah felt wide awake, his mind replaying the moment Ethan had been led away in handcuffs. The look on his face, shock, fury, and something else. Defeat. It was over. Really over. When Noah pulled into Mrs. Patterson's driveway, the porch light was still on. He could see movement through the window, someone pacing, probably Scarlett. He got out of the car and walked to the door. It opened before he could knock. Scarlett stood there, her face pale but her eyes bright with relief. You're okay. I'm okay. She threw her arms around him, and Noah froze for a second, surprised. Then he hugged her back, feeling the tension drain out of both of them. I thought... Scarlett's voice cracked. When you didn't answer your phone for 20 minutes, I thought something had gone wrong. I'm sorry. The feds had questions. I couldn't call. She pulled back, looking at him. Is it really over? Yeah, Ethan's in custody. The evidence is with the FBI. Meridian's collapsing. It's over. Scarlett's eyes welled up, and she pressed a hand to her mouth, trying to keep it together. Noah had never seen her like this, vulnerable, unguarded. It was strange and humanizing. Come on, he said gently. Let's go inside. They walked into the living room. Mrs. Patterson was sitting in her recliner, knitting something that looked like a scarf. She looked up when they entered. Emma's asleep, she said. Finally. Took 3 stories and a promise that you'd be here when she woke up. I will be, Noah said. Good. Mrs. Patterson set down her knitting. Now, you two sit. You look like you're about to fall over. They sat. Marcus appeared from the kitchen with 3 mugs of tea, handing them out. Figured you could use something warm, Marcus said. Thanks, Noah said, wrapping his hands around the mug. They sat in silence for a while, the weight of everything settling over them. Then Marcus spoke up. So what happens now? Noah exhaled. Now? I don't know. The FBI's got everything they need. They'll build their case. Ethan and everyone involved with Meridian will go to trial. And us? Scarlett asked. We testify. We give statements. We help make sure they don't walk. And after that? Noah looked at her. After that, we go back to our lives. Whatever that looks like now. Scarlett stared into her tea. I'm not sure I know what that looks like anymore. Yeah, Noah said quietly. Me neither. Mrs. Patterson cleared her throat. If I may offer some perspective from someone who's lived a bit longer than you 3, life has a way of figuring itself out. You've been through something terrible, but you came out the other side. And now you get to decide what comes next. That's not a curse, that's a gift. Noah smiled faintly. When did you get so wise?
I've always been this wise. You just haven't been paying attention. Marcus laughed. I like her more every time she talks. Good, Mrs. Patterson said, because you're still sleeping on the couch tonight. Yes, ma'am. The next few weeks were a blur. The media storm around Meridian's collapse was relentless. Every day brought new revelations. More executives arrested, more fraud uncovered. The company's board of directors resigned en masse. Shareholders filed lawsuits. The stock became worthless overnight. Noah and Scarlett gave their statements to the FBI. They sat through hours of interviews answering the same questions over and over. It was exhausting, but necessary. Ethan, for his part, tried to cut a deal. He offered to testify against other executives in exchange for a reduced sentence. But the evidence against him was too strong. The prosecutors weren't interested in deals. They wanted convictions. The trial was set for 6 months out. Until then, Noah tried to rebuild some semblance of normalcy. He moved back into his apartment with Emma. Mrs. Patterson had offered to let them stay longer, but Noah knew they needed to go home. Emma needed her own bed, her own toys, her own space. The first night back, Emma climbed into bed and looked at him with those wide, serious eyes. Daddy, are the bad people gone? Noah sat on the edge of her bed. Yeah, sweetheart, they're gone. Forever? Forever. She nodded, satisfied. Then she hugged her stuffed penguin and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep. Noah stayed there for a while, watching her. She was so young. Too young to understand what had happened, what he'd been through, what he'd done to keep her safe. Maybe that was for the best. But someday when she was older, he'd tell her. He'd tell her that sometimes doing the right thing meant risking everything. That standing up to people who wanted to hurt you was terrifying but necessary. That being a good person wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. Scarlett called him a few days later. Can we meet? She asked. I need to talk to you about something. Sure. Where? My office. Tomorrow afternoon? I'll be there. When Noah arrived at Scarlett's office the next day, he was surprised to find it mostly empty. Boxes lined the walls. Files were stacked on the floor. The sleek, intimidating space he remembered had been stripped down to its bones. Scarlett was standing by the window, looking out at the city. She turned when he walked in. What's all this? Noah asked, gesturing to the boxes. I'm stepping down, Scarlett said. Noah blinked. What? As CEO, I'm stepping down. Why? Scarlett walked over to her desk and sat on the edge of it. Because I've spent the last 3 years running this company, trying to prove I could do what my father did, trying to live up to his legacy, and I realized something. I don't want to anymore. Scarlett, I'm not giving up, she said quickly. I'm not walking away from the company, but I'm not going to be CEO. I'm going to let someone else run the day-to-day operations, someone who actually wants the job. And what are you going to do? I don't know yet, Scarlett admitted. Maybe take some time off, travel, figure out who I am when I'm not trying to be my father. Noah studied her. She looked lighter somehow, less burdened. I think that's a good idea, he said. Do you? Yeah, you've been carrying this weight for a long time. You deserve a break. Scarlett smiled. What about you? What are you going to do? I've been thinking about that, Noah said, and I think I'm going to start my own consulting firm. Security, risk management, helping companies protect themselves from people like Ethan. That sounds perfect for you. Maybe. We'll see. Scarlett stood up and walked over to him. Noah, I need to say something, and I need you to let me finish before you say anything. Okay? She took a breath. When this started, I didn't trust you. I thought you were just another employee, someone I could use to solve my problems. But you proved me wrong. Over and over. You risked everything to help me, to protect me. And She paused, searching for the right words. I don't know how to thank you for that. You don't need to thank me, Noah said. Yes, I do, because you didn't have to help me. You could have walked away, taken Ethan's deal, protected Emma and disappeared. But you didn't. You stayed. And I need you to know that means something. Noah felt something tighten in his chest. Scarlett, I'm not done, she said. I also need you to know that I think you're one of the best people I've ever met.
You're honest, you're brave, you're a good father, and if things were different, if our lives were different, I think we could have been really good friends. Could have been? Noah asked. Scarlett smiled. Could be, if you're interested. Noah smiled back. Yeah, I'm interested. She held out her hand. Friends? He shook it. Friends.
But as they stood there, hands clasped, something passed between them, something unspoken. It wasn't romance, not quite. It was understanding, respect, the kind of connection that came from going through hell together and coming out the other side. Scarlett let go first. I should probably get back to packing. Yeah, I should get back to Emma. She's got a school thing tonight. What kind of thing? Art show. She made a drawing of a penguin. She's very proud of it. Scarlett laughed. I bet she is. They walked to the door together. Before Noah left, Scarlett said, Hey, if you ever need anything, and I mean anything, call me. Okay? Same goes for you. Deal. Noah walked out, feeling something settle in his chest. Peace, maybe, or at least the beginning of it. 3 months later, Noah stood in front of a small office space in downtown, holding Emma's hand. The sign above the door read, Bennett Consulting, Security and Risk Management. What do you think, sweetheart? Noah asked. Emma tilted her head, studying the sign. It's nice, Daddy, but the letters are kind of small. Noah laughed. I'll make sure they're bigger next time. Inside, the office was modest. A desk, a couple of chairs, a filing cabinet. Nothing fancy. But it was his. Marcus had helped him set it up, calling in favors, spreading the word. Noah already had 3 clients lined up, small companies looking for someone to help them shore up their security. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work, and it was enough. Emma wandered around the office, exploring. She found a framed photograph on Noah's desk, the 2 of them at the park, smiling. I like this picture, she said. Me too. She looked up at him. Are you happy, Daddy? The question caught Noah off guard. He crouched down to her level. Yeah, sweetheart, I am. Good, because I'm happy too. She hugged him, and Noah held her tight, feeling a swell of emotion he couldn't quite put into words. This was what mattered. Not the money, not the recognition, just this. Being there for his daughter, building a life that was safe and stable and good. That night, after Emma was asleep, Noah sat on his couch with a beer and his phone. He scrolled through the news. Ethan's trial had started. The prosecution was laying out their case: fraud, conspiracy, murder. The evidence was overwhelming. Ethan's lawyers were doing their best, but it was a losing battle. Everyone knew it. Noah set his phone down and stared at the ceiling. He thought about everything that had happened. The threats, the fear, the violence. And he thought about what Mrs. Patterson had said, that he'd been given a gift, the chance to decide what came next. She was right. For so long, Noah had been running from his past, running from who he used to be, running from anything that might threaten the fragile life he'd built. But he wasn't running anymore. He'd faced his past head on. He'd fought back. And he'd won. Not perfectly, not without scars, but he'd won. And now he got to build something new, something better. His phone buzzed, a text from Scarlett. Saw the news about the trial. How are you holding up? Noah smiled and typed back. I'm good. How about you? Better. Taking a trip to Europe next month. First vacation in 5 years. That sounds great. You deserve it. Thanks. Hey, when I get back, we should get coffee. Catch up. I'd like that. Good. I'll hold you to it. Noah set the phone down, still smiling. Scarlett was doing okay. He was doing okay. Emma was doing okay. It wasn't perfect. Life never was. There would be more challenges, more struggles, more moments when he'd have to decide between the easy path and the right one. But he'd learned something through all of this. He'd learned that being a good person didn't mean being fearless. It meant being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. It meant showing up for the people you loved, even when it was hard. It meant standing up for what mattered, even when the cost was high. And he'd learned that you didn't have to do it alone. That asking for help wasn't weakness, it was strength.
That letting people in, trusting them, leaning on them, that was what made life worth living. Noah thought about his daughter, asleep in the next room. He thought about Scarlett, halfway across the city, packing for her trip. He thought about Marcus, probably out somewhere causing trouble. He thought about Mrs. Patterson, knitting in her recliner, keeping watch over the people she cared about. These were his people, his family, not by blood, but by choice. And that was enough. 6 months later, Noah sat in the courtroom as the jury delivered their verdict. Guilty. On all counts. Ethan Cole was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. No parole. The courtroom erupted, some people cheering, others protesting. But Noah just sat there, feeling a quiet sense of closure. It was over. Really, truly over. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed. Questions flew. But Noah kept his head down and walked to his car. Scarlett was waiting by the driver's side door. She'd flown back from Europe for the verdict. She looked tanned, rested, happy. "Hey," she said. "Hey, how do you feel?" Noah thought about it. "Relieved, tired, ready to go home." "Yeah," Scarlett said. "Me too." They stood there for a moment, watching the chaos of the courthouse steps. Then Scarlett said, "You know, I've been thinking." "About what?" "About what you said. About building something new, something better." And I think you're right. I think that's what we all deserve. A second chance, a fresh start." Noah nodded. "Yeah, I think so too." Scarlett smiled. "Well, here's to second chances." "To second chances," Noah echoed. They shook hands. Then Scarlett walked to her car, waving as she drove away. Noah got into his own car and sat there for a moment, hands on the steering wheel. Then he pulled out his phone and called Mrs. Patterson. "Hey, is Emma ready?" "She's been ready for an hour. Keeps asking when you're coming to get her." Noah smiled. "Tell her I'm on my way." He hung up and started the car. As he drove through the city, Noah thought about the journey that had brought him here. The fear, the pain, the moments when he'd wanted to give up, and the moments when he'd found the strength to keep going. He thought about the people who'd helped him along the way, who'd believed in him, who'd stood by him. And he thought about the future, about the life he was building with Emma, about the work he was doing, about the friendships he'd formed. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but it was a good life, a life worth living. And sometimes that was the most important thing, because life wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about having all the answers or never making mistakes. It was about showing up, trying your best, loving the people around you, and having the courage to keep going, even when things got hard. That's what made someone strong. Not fearlessness, not invincibility, just the willingness to keep trying. Noah pulled into Mrs. Patterson's driveway. Emma was already running out the door, her backpack bouncing, her face bright with excitement. "Daddy, guess what? Mrs. Patterson taught me how to knit." Noah laughed, catching her as she jumped into his arms. "Did she now?" "Uh-huh. I'm making a scarf for my penguin." "That's amazing, sweetheart." Mrs. Patterson stood on the porch, watching them with a smile. Noah waved. She waved back. He set Emma down and opened the car door for her. She climbed in, still chattering away about yarn and stitches and colors. Noah got into the driver's seat and looked at his daughter in the rearview mirror. She was smiling, happy, safe. And that was all that mattered. He started the car and drove home, the city lights fading behind them, the road ahead clear and open. For the first time in a long time, Noah wasn't afraid of what came next. Because whatever it was, he knew he could handle it. He had people who cared about him. He had work that mattered. He had a daughter who loved him. And he had himself. The real version. Not the one hiding in the shadows. Not the one running from his past. Just Noah. Flawed. Imperfect. But trying. And that was enough. It would always be enough. 2 years later, Noah stood in his office, looking at the framed photograph on the wall. It was a picture of him and Scarlett, taken at the groundbreaking ceremony for the Hale Foundation, a nonprofit Scarlett had started to help whistleblowers and people fighting corporate corruption. Noah served on the board. So did Marcus. So did a dozen other people who'd been through similar battles. Together, they were making a difference. Not in big dramatic ways, but in small, meaningful ones. Helping people who needed it. Standing up for what was right.
Emma walked into the office, now 8 years old and taller than she'd been 2 years ago. She was holding a drawing. "Daddy, look! I drew you and Miss Scarlett at the ceremony." Noah took the drawing and smiled. It was stick figures again, him and Scarlett standing in front of a building holding shovels. Emma had drawn a rainbow in the background. "It's perfect, sweetheart. Can we put it on the fridge?" "Absolutely." She grinned and ran back out into the hallway. Noah looked at the drawing for a moment longer, then he set it on his desk and went back to work. Because there was always more work to do, more people to help, more wrongs to right. But that was okay, because Noah had learned something important over the past few years. He'd learned that you didn't have to be perfect to make a difference. You just had to care. You just had to try. And sometimes that was all it took to change the world. One person at a time, one choice at a time, one moment at a time. And as Noah sat there in his small office with his daughter's drawings on the desk and the future stretching out ahead of him, he realized something else. He was happy, not because everything was perfect, not because he had it all figured out, but because he was living a life that mattered, a life built on honesty, courage, and love. And that was the greatest victory of all.